From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is SportsBash presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. SportsBash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. SportsBash is also brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention SportsBash and get a free dessert with your meal. By Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. And by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. Hi again, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call here on the show if you are watching the show live. Make sure you are subscribing to Gov's Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to Sports Bash on Apple Music and Spotify. Coming up on the show, I'll be joined by pro wrestler Ray Jaz, who will be part of the inaugural Gotham Wrestling event. It's coming up this Thursday at Levity Live in West Nyack. That'll be on Thursday. He's also, this is really cool, he is a cast member for the Savannah Bananas opponent, the Firefighters. So if you're familiar with the Savannah Bananas and that whole phenomenon, this past season, there were 3 other teams that the Savannah Bananas either played or those teams played against each other. Now there's 2 more for 2026. So not only is he a professional wrestler, Ray Jaz, but he is also on the Firefighters team that is part of Banana Ball, and it's a unique story, and we'll talk to him about both wrestling and the Savannah Bananas when we have him on in about 18, 19 minutes from now. We'll also have What's Hot at TicketBash.com, Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll have the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. And by the way, thank you for tuning in late with us today. Normally we're on at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock today because I got this other little thing that I do called WFAN. So from time to time I do fill in the morning on FAN and on Infinity Sports Network. So when that does happen, Tony Walker, my producer, who also hosts the Knock 'em Dead comedy show from 11 to 12:30 here at Governor's Comedy Club podcast, I tell Tony, hey, listen, Tony, WFAN needs me in the morning. Can I do the show a little bit later? And he usually says yes. No, most of the time, almost all the time, says yes. He does that with a smile. I'm just busting chops. But yes, Tony is always very accommodating when we have to change the time of the show or change the day of the show. And today was one of those days. And I knew today was going to be an interesting day because I'm wearing this brand new sweatshirt. And this came up on the air this morning on the Infinity Sports Network because the host of the show was also wearing a white sweatshirt, and neither of us told each other, obviously. I mean, I think women generally do that. They make sure that they're not dressing the same. Like if there's 2 female anchors on TV, they'll generally discuss, I think, with each other what they're going to wear. Like guys don't do that. So like I don't bother to send a text message out to the group saying, hey, I'm wearing a white sweatshirt on Tuesday. Are you wearing a white sweatshirt? Like, I don't think to do that. So, but the intent was not to wear this in studio this morning or even here on the show today. I have underneath this white sweatshirt a Back to the Future t-shirt. And Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. And my wife, Cheryl, a couple of times has been able to find a Back to the Future t-shirt in my size, and I wore the t-shirt this morning with the intent that when I got to the studio this morning at FAN, because it was cold when I was waiting for the train, and then I figured, all right, it'll be warm in the studio, hopefully, I'll take the sweatshirt off, and I'll be able to walk around with my Back to the Future t-shirt on. Well, there's a little problem. This sweatshirt is so brand new, obviously has never been washed before because today is the first day I'm wearing it. And what do you think happened when I took off my white sweatshirt today? white lint all over my Back to the Future t-shirt. So here is a tip for guys. I'm not really speaking to the ladies out there because you probably already know this, but a little tip to the guys. If you get a brand new sweatshirt and you have to make sure inside you see you got this fabric inside here, like this fuzzy fabric, make sure you wash the sweatshirt inside out first so that the remnants of that stuff come off and it doesn't do this to your shirt, because now obviously both shirts were going to get washed anyway, but now I've got this lint and I can't go anywhere right now today because I didn't think to bring a lint remover with me to work today. So, but that is the Back to the Future t-shirt there, and you're going to get the one glimpse of it here on the show. And now I'll put my sweatshirt down and get on with the rest of the program. And obviously, you know, here in New York, there's really only a couple of things to talk about. I mean, the Yankees are done. So you know, we'll have a little post-mortem on New York baseball, and I'll tell you more about it later in the show. We're going to have a baseball guest a week from today. We're going to have a baseball guest here on the show, and I'll tell you about the guest a little bit later on. And basketball hasn't started yet. Hockey has. The Rangers have won a couple of games. The Islanders are off to an 0-3 start. We've been talking a lot about the Islanders on the show, but we're going to take a little bit of a break from that today. And again, football right now is the most prominent thing going on in New York sports, and the Giants have really surprised people with a couple of wins. Jackson Dart has done a great job being inserted as the starting quarterback, and the Giants have a couple of wins, including the victory over the Eagles this past Thursday night. And what a stunning win that was for the Giants, and congratulations to them on being relevant in the New York market and being relevant in the NFL. And with the Commanders losing that game last night, the Giants are right there in the discussion. The Eagles have their 4 wins, but the Giants now with a couple of wins, and the Commanders have struggled early on. The Giants are starting to get some momentum here, perhaps to challenge for a playoff spot. And we'll see how the next few weeks go for them. But at least the Giants have given their fans some hope. And for Brian Daboll, the head coach, and Joe Shane, the general manager, I mean, their jobs are riding on Jackson Dart, making the Giants relevant the rest of the way. And so far, they have managed to do that. And the Giants are a fun team to watch, and Jackson Dart is a fun quarterback to watch. And I think the Giants are going to win some games here, the rest of the season. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get the Giants into the playoffs, but I certainly think if you're a Giants fan right now, you've got to be ecstatic. You have to be, because at least there's some hope. There is some hope that the Giants can win some games, keep their hierarchy in charge, and not have to go through another coaching change and another GM change. So you hope that works out for the Giants. And then you have the Jets. And I've talked about this on the show, and for those who obviously follow along, you know me, you follow me on whether it's here on the show or what I do over at FAN, you follow me on social media, you know how big of a Jets fan that I am. But just for the most part in my life, the Jets have just given me agita. Like, if you're a Jets fan, that's really all. If you're of my age, I was a year and a half old when the Jets won the Super Bowl, so it's not like I have like tremendous memories of it. And if I didn't have the DVD of Super Bowl III, I'd never believe the Jets actually won a Super Bowl. But I have the DVD, and I'm really, really depressed about the Jets. I'll just go pop in the DVD, and I'm like, oh, they actually did win a Super Bowl once. That's pretty cool. And I have to show that to the kids. Obviously my wife believes that it happened because she's the same age as I am. But you have to show the kids, they really did win the Super Bowl. And to a lesser extent, I pop in, videos to show my kids that the Islanders really did win 4 Stanley Cups in a row. And no other reason do I want the Islanders to win another Stanley Cup is for my kids. I want them to at least see what it's like to see a team win. Even the Mets, like I said, I don't hate the Mets. So like in 2015, I was rooting for the Mets in the World Series against the Royals because I want to see my family happy. But as far as the Jets go, it's just, I promised myself earlier this season that I was not going to let the Jets ruin my Sundays anymore. And to a certain extent, I've held up my end of the bargain. But what happened on Sunday morning in London is just so ridiculous and just so jet-like that you have to laugh about it. And I the last few weeks, if I've been watching the game, I'm just very, very stoic and very monotone watching these games. But I don't even think anything in the Rich Kotite era or the Adam Gase era can relate or compete with what we saw at the end of the first half on Sunday morning. The fact that Aaron Glenn, and I thought, as we like to say in the Jewish religion, made a chutzpah dika call and faked the punt on fourth down and converted it. And you're thinking with, there's a little under 2 minutes to go. I don't know exactly what the time left in the second quarter was. But certainly when you fake the punt from where they did, I think it was around the 30-yard line or so, you now have a legitimate amount of time to try and go down the field and try and at least get in position for a field goal. And what we saw Aaron Glenn do in sitting on the ball and wasting clock just boggles the mind. In essence, what the Jets did, what Aaron Glenn decided to do, was to fake a punt, not to try and score before the end of the first half, but to prevent the Broncos from getting the ball back with a minute or so to go. That's, in essence, what Aaron Glenn decided to do, which was so ludicrous and so moronic that it pissed off his star wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, who had an exchange with him on the field at the end of the first half, like wanting to know, what did we do there? And we didn't find out until after the game when Aaron Glenn stupidly explained that, well, they had a timeout and we didn't know if we had the first down or not. I mean, blah, 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 blah. That had to have been the most moronic decision and explanation by any coach in Jets history. And let me tell you, the Jets have had some bad coaches. I mentioned Rich Kotite and Adam Gase, to name a couple. But just, again, I'm trying not to let the Jets ruin my days and my nights. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I did not stay home to watch the Jet game. I went to the Islanders preseason game instead. But what we saw on Sunday morning just boggles the mind, and it clearly makes you wonder. And again, this goes back to, every franchise starts at the top. It starts at the freaking top with any pro sports franchise. Like, what did Aaron Glenn say in these interviews to get Woody Johnson to hire him? And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I liked the hire. I loved Aaron Glenn as a player for the Jets. He did a great job as defensive coordinator with the Lions. Now, truth be told, I wanted Matt Nagy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator. I wanted him. He was my first choice to be Jets head coach, both because I think he's a good coach and also he's a friend of mine from our arena football days. So I had a two-fisted reason for thinking that way. But I now wonder really how stupid Woody Johnson is. Like, what did Aaron Glenn say in the interview process to Woody Johnson to get this job? Because he has shown now through an 0-6 start to the season that he is so in over his head in this head coaching position that you wonder now if he's going to be one and done. If Woody Johnson has any semblance of a brain and the Jets continue spiraling out of control, and this goes the way it looks like it's going, you may have to consider it being one and done. And I don't know, if you get the first pick in the draft and you have to now draft a quarterback with the first pick, the second pick, or the third pick, whatever it winds up being, do you want this regime to make that selection? Do you want GM Darren Muji to make that pick? Do you want Aaron Glenn to be part of that decision-making process? At this point, I would say the answer to that question is no. So it just, again, every year the Jets do something that just leaves you just, breathless is not the word, because breathless is more of a seductive, positive, word to use to describe something. But just I'm so confused. Like, I'm watching that, and my son Jared, who's 15, is saying, what are they doing? And when they fake the punt, my older son Bradley, who's a long snapper in college, he's texting with me, my wife, and Cheryl, and Jared, I'm sorry, like, hey, they faked the punt. How great was that? And you could see it coming because Thomas Hennessy wasn't the long snapper. They had another center in there, and Brees Hall was in there as the up guy, and he wound up getting the ball. I'm like, how great was that they pulled off a fake punt? And then they ran the clock out. They didn't even try to score. I mean, what are we doing here? This is like I've seen peewee teams that would try to score. The worst college football teams, the worst high school teams. If you pulled off a fake punt and you're near midfield, why wouldn't you try to score? I don't get it. And it's, again, thank God this game was in the morning on Sunday, because my family and I had other activities that we were doing on during the day. And it's 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back watching that game on Sunday morning. But at least, it's one thing if the Jets suck between 1 and 4. It's right smack in the middle of your day. So if you invest the 3 hours to watch the Jets between 1 and 4, so hopefully you've gone out with your family to have a nice breakfast. If you're at the game, you had a good tailgate party, and then you have 1 to 4, and the Jets suck, and you're miserable now for the rest of the day. Or if you choose to watch the 4 o'clock game, the 8 o'clock game, whatever. But at least in this case, the Jets sucked between 9:30 and 12:30. So it gave you the rest of the day. And for us, for the Schwartz family, it was not so bad because at least we had other things to do. We did some shopping. We went out for a nice lunch. Me and Jared went to a baseball card show. Like, we were able to do things the rest of the day. Cheryl and Jared bowl on Sunday nights in a parent-child league. At least they had that to cap off the day. I went to work at FAN. So at least the Jets sucking between 9:30 and 12:30 was better than them sucking between 1 and 4. Because then that's right in the middle of your day. And then what else are you going to do? You're going to feel miserable the rest of the day. Thank you, Tony, for putting up the Schwartz on Sports sad Peter logo. He's not the best producer in the business for nothing. But yeah, that's where we are with the Jets. And let me just end my Jet rant on this. As you know, and I've talked about this before, my wife Cheryl is also a Jets fan. So that was the only sports team we agreed on when we started dating, got engaged and married. Now our kids are Jet fans. It's the only team that we've agreed on. And we share our sadness when the Jets suck. We share our happiness when the Jets actually win a game. But we also can be somewhat comical with each other when these things like something will happen in the game and she'll be like, of course that happened. It's the Jets. And I'll say kind of like the same thing. And we're on the same wavelength when those things happen. So as far as the Jets go, we love each other and we share our love of the Jets. And I'm wondering if love between two Jet fans is what can help people deal with the Jets. And I bring that up because good friends of the show, they do the Gotham City crew. They do these tailgate parties. And Claudio, who is a great Jet fan, runs these Gotham City crew tailgate parties. They've done it for years. They do it in the parking lot at MetLife Stadium for Jet home games. And what they've done this Sunday, when the Jets play the Carolina Panthers, is they have partnered with these group of people, and they're going to do this Jets singles tailgate in conjunction with the regular Gotham City crew tailgate. And it's being advertised as if you're a Jet fan and you're looking for a significant other who's also a Jet fan, you come to this tailgate party and you can meet them. And I can't think of any other way than to meet your soulmate than to go to this Jet singles tailgate party, find somebody who is just as miserable as you are rooting for the Jets. Isn't that true love? Like, if you suffer from rooting for the Jets and you're still looking for that soulmate, you're still looking for that person to spend the rest of your life with, just like my wife and I. We love each other. We have a beautiful family. We love our kids. We do so many things together as a family. But one of the things that really bonds us as a couple is our shared love and disdain for the Jets. Because we love them because they're our favorite team, but they just suck the life out of you. And I think if you meet the person who shares those feelings with you, shares the love of the green and white, and sometimes black, and you can meet that person at this tailgate party on Sunday, how great would that be if you could spend the rest of your life with somebody who shares the same sorrow as you do, watching the Jets? I mean, that's got love written all over it. The Jets and love, I mean, they suck at 0-6, but if you could find your soulmate by virtue of the Jets, that is a negative that turned into a positive. And I wanted to make sure I brought that up because as miserable as we all are, at least I could speak for myself. And I come home to a wonderful, beautiful woman who shares my love of the Jets and shares my disdain for them when they piss us off so much. All right, enough about that Fakakta team. Coming up on the show, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about pro wrestling and the Savannah Bananas. And someone who shares in both of them is Ray Jaz, and he is going to be involved in Gotham Wrestling on Thursday night. He also plays as a cast member for the one of the Savannah Bananas opponents, the Firefighters, and we're going to talk to Ray when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, good. You're not a customer. You
that was
are
great.
Family.
I love a good judge.
Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention SportsBash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. You know, it's funny, before I get to my guest, I'm not going to talk about the Jets anymore. I let it all out there in that first segment. I was talking to a family member this morning, And the person said to me, "Are you doing your show today?" I said, "Yeah, but I'm working at FAN in the morning, so I'm doing the show at 3:00." And right as I'm starting the show at 3:00, I look down at my phone. My phone is ringing, and it's that person who I spoke to this morning. So if I told you that I was doing the show at 3:00, why are you calling me exactly at 3:00? I'll speak to that person later about it. But I don't want to embarrass that person on the air right now. He knows who it is. Great event coming up this Thursday. A brand new professional wrestling promotion is starting, and it's going to take place at Levity Live in West Nyack, New York on Thursday. It's called Gotham Wrestling. Lots of local wrestling talent going to take part. There's some national names as well. And on the line with us to talk about that, and also his other job as a cast member for one of the Savannah Bananas opponents, the Firefighters, is Ray Jaz. And Ray joins us here on Sports Bash. Ray, it's Peter. Thank you so much for spending some time on this Tuesday to join us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super pumped, honestly. Being a Jersey guy, my whole family listen to the Fan, so this is great. Everyone loves a good Jets rant, right?
Yeah, well, I hope I didn't put too many people to sleep with that, but it's funny, Ray, because again, I try to not let the Jets ruin my days, but they give me so much content to talk about. Like, how do you not talk about how badly they suck?
Right, yeah, everyone loves the negative content, right? And growing up, I was a Yankees and Giants fan, so...
Well, we share the Yankee love. We share the Yankee love there.
Yankees broke my heart this year, but hey, my team, the Firefighters, we made it to the Banana Ball Championship, so that made it up just a little bit.
Absolutely, that's great stuff. We'll get to the banana stuff in just a little bit, but let's start with this wrestling event that's going to take place on Thursday night. It's always great when you have more opportunities for somebody in an industry to get work, and whether it's a new spring football league that starts up or whether there's an alternative hockey league, whatever it is, in your industry in professional wrestling, when there's a new promotion that starts, it's a good deal for everybody that's involved in the industry because it's more work. How excited are you for Thursday night and the debut of Gotham Wrestling?
Oh, I'm very excited, and even though it's a debut, the producer running it, David Marquez, he's been running that in LA for years, and I'd go out there and wrestle for him in LA, and I just loved how he ran the event, right? It's very professional, and they were doing local TV out there, and I would always say, why don't you bring it to the East Coast? The East Coast needs this. And now we're out here, and I'm so excited. And it's something that New York needs, is just a professional kind of event. It's a TV taping. I know we're gonna film a few episodes, and that's what it is. When you have a lot of great workers that are hungry for an opportunity to show what they have, it's always going to be a great event. So I'm very excited. And
there's local names like yourself and Joe Ocasio. They're going to be on the card on the tapings, but also people who follow the big promotions, whether it's WWE or AEW or even TNA. But a guy that everybody who follows pro wrestling knows is Jay Lethal, and he's going to be on the card as well. And to have him provides a lot of credibility for this.
Yeah, he's a Jersey guy too. He's from I'm from South Plainfield. I think he's from Rahway or somewhere in Central Jersey. So all us Jersey and New York guys, we're showing out, man. We like to do it big, and we like to do it big for the local area. So
the thing I like about Jay, to me, his two most memorable moments, and they both involved Ric Flair, was when he did that woo-off with Ric Flair on an episode of TNA, which, his rendition of Ric Flair was just spot on. And then he was also involved in Ric Flair's last match, where he was, one of the opponents for him. So he's got that connection. He's so well respected, and I'm sure you're looking forward to being as part of the same promotion with him on Thursday.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just the knowledge that he has, he always shares it with the locker room. So that's always great to have. Someone that's been there and done it, and passes it on. That's what it's all about in any sport.
Absolutely. How about for yourself? You grew up, as you mentioned, in New Jersey. You wrestled for South Plainfield High School. You went on to compete for NYU. So you have this, amateur wrestling background. And I know there's a great story as to how you got interested in pro wrestling. Tell everybody about the person who inspired you to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, well, NYU, I was sports management. So actually I was doing a lot of stuff that you guys kind of do with the fan. And, sports management, when I graduated, it was very, very hard industry to kind of crack in right away. So I was going on all these job interviews that had nothing to do with sports. And I realized that 9 to 5, it wasn't for me. And I was still like on the top of my athletic, performance. I just took 7th in the country, had the most wins at NYU. I wasn't done being an athlete. And I was a pro wrestling fan growing up. Actually, funny story, my grandfather got me into wrestling at 5 years old because he tricked me thinking it was going to be pro wrestling. So I show up at the South Plainfield PAL. There's nothing but 4 big-sized circle mats, and everyone's in singlets and stuff. And I'm like, what is that? Where's the microphone? Where's the ropes? And they're like, no, you got to do this really well in order to get to that. So that was just a little bit of it. But then right after college, I would do seminars, like, clinics for like local areas. And I was in Midwood, Brooklyn. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that area. One of the guys coached there, and he had me do the seminar, and Bob Backlund was there.
Oh, Bob
legendary
Backlund.
Bob Backlund was there. And he saw how I was with the kids. He saw how, he knew my resume from NYU wrestling. He goes, why don't you give pro wrestling a try? Why not? And I was like, I never really even thought about that. So he connected me with this guy, Damian Adams in Jersey. And it's been about 7, 8 years later, and I never stopped. It found my love again for competing and wrestling when I was a kid. So it's amazing that I'm able to do this.
What was the biggest thing you learned from Bob Backlund? Because obviously when you think about the history of WWF, WWE, obviously he comes to mind as a longtime champion before he was beaten by the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden. But what were the things that he taught you about the business, and some things maybe you keep with yourself today in the business?
Bob was all about being authentic, and work ethic, right? Especially in a business like pro wrestling, some people get ahead, some people stay the same, and it could get frustrating. But he says, as long as you're staying authentic and working hard, that's what it's all about. He goes, you don't need to worry about all the other extra BS, right? If you stay true and you just keep working hard, keep chipping away, opportunities will happen. And Bob, he was very authentic, throughout his whole career. Even his later stage back in the WWF days, when he won the title from Bret Hart, even though he was a bad guy.
Yeah, I didn't like that, Ray. I didn't like it when they turned him into a heel. I grew up with him as the champion, and he was the baby face. He was the good guy. I just didn't like him as a heel.
Yeah. But that goes back to being authentic. Bob was just himself, and people hated it. I guess it was the time of the day, where being, overly good was seen as being a bad guy. And it's funny, the coach at Midwood that was like his friend at the time, he would actually give him some tips on because Bob was kind of like that, that teacher in class that was overly smart. So his name was George Hero, Bob's friend, and he was a teacher in Brooklyn. And he would give Bob just funny things that he could cut a promo on, about the president's thing. Remember, he would go and ask fans, all right, name the first 15 presidents, and it was good, man.
We're talking to Ray Jaz. He's a professional wrestler. He'll be part of Gotham Wrestling on Thursday night at Levity Live in West Nyack. We're also going to talk about a baseball thing he's involved in just a couple of minutes. But in addition to Gotham Wrestling, you've been around the different circuits in all the big companies. I know you've been involved in AEW. What's it been like for you having this career in pro wrestling and getting to compete and do your thing in all of these different companies?
Honestly, it truly is a blessing. Just to see how different styles is, how different companies do their thing. It just adds a lot more to my resume and what I could do. It makes you think differently. Especially being part of the full-blood Italians with Guido and Zach Clayton. Guido is like my crazy, uncle. I call him my godfather of pro wrestling. And the knowledge he has, and he takes care of me, and he tells me things that are needed. Because the best advice you get is the honest ones, whether it's good or bad. I always take his advice, and 9 times out of 10 he's right.
Well, maybe I can get a couple of Jewish friends or family members of mine, and we can have a 6-man tag.
Oh, definitely, right? We'll do a Jersey versus Long Island type 6-man tag.
How about the business now? I mean, there's been different eras of professional wrestling. I'm 58 and I grew up with, wrestling, and, we just talking about Bob Backlund, and I got into it when, Bob Backlund was the champion, then Hulk Hogan, the Attitude Era, and now the, WWE is in this, brand new era with TKO. AEW is the rival. You've got TNA, and all these other things. What do you think of the industry now and how it's thriving?
It's just about, upgrading yourself, right? Every business, every sport always upgraded, right? And it's about, who the audience is now. But at the end of the day, it goes back to what Bob was saying, being authentic. And that's what it's really about. Like, each company now, they have their own style. So that's why I was blessed to wrestle at so many different places, because I could kind of feel what each one is going for right now. And I was just out in California training at the New Japan Dojo, and then I was training with Josh Barnett at his place, CMMA in Gardena, and it brought me back to my college days where I could just be an amateur wrestler, go do your amateur wrestling and show it off. And that was like a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? It got me back to my old days, just going out there and taking guys down and beating some people up. So that was fun. So
Thursday night, some of the matches: Jay Lethal against Carl Fredericks. Big Mama defends the United Wrestling Network Women's Championship. 5150 defends the United Wrestling Network World Tag Team Championship. And then, some of the other names on the card that, for the 4 TV tapings, Bobby Fish, yourself, VSK, Andy Brown, Joe Ocasio, I mentioned before, Lord Crew. Do you know who you're facing on Thursday night? Can you give us a little sneak peek?
I am not sure yet. You got to go and find out.
Uh-huh.
That's the beauty of wrestling. Anything can happen. But I can tell you it's going to be something very good and very special, and I'm very excited for it.
And tickets are available at GothamWrestling.com. That should be a great event on Thursday night. And now we have to switch gears, Ray, because you have this pro wrestling side of you, but you also have the baseball side of you as a cast member for Banana Ball. The Savannah Bananas have become this phenomenon, this pop culture phenomenon with their brand of baseball, and they go on this tour every year now with it was with 3 other teams, and now they've added 2 more teams for 2026. You are on the Firefighters, a team that plays the Savannah Bananas sometimes. Let me just start with this. How does one become a Banana Ball cast member? Because I got to imagine that it's not like going to just a simple baseball tryout. Like, you can go try out for a minor league baseball team, or maybe even a major league team will conduct workouts if they're looking for someone. But how does somebody get involved in Banana Ball?
Right. So there is tryouts, but with the firefighter team, the young professor, and he's on the mic for the Savannah Bananas. He's the announcer and everything. They sent out like a Facebook post, I think in early March, and people were just hitting me up. You'd be great for this. You'd be great for this. So they were just flooding his comments. And finally I got in touch and, explained who I was and, my who I was with the community in New Jersey, how I still coach at Bridgewater, New Jersey wrestling. And he'd be like, you'd be great at this, So they flew me out to Kansas City for the first tour, and I fell in love with it, how passionate these fans were. And Jesse Cole, the owner of the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball.
What a smart guy, huh? What an unbelievably smart fellow this guy must be.
Yes, and his philosophy is fans first. Whatever you do, make sure it's fans first. And if you're having fun, the fans are going to have fun. So you're just grabbing a mic, interacting with these fans, and making sure everyone's having a good time. And that's what it's about. I feel like a lot of sports have missed that. You know what I mean? A lot of wrestling have missed that. It's about the fans. It's about people coming to watch, an event. Watch a sport. And that's what Jesse's all about. And I think that's why we're so popular right now, especially the age of social media. It's we get that instant interaction with our fans.
What is your gimmick? I'm using a wrestling term because I'm sure a lot of your wrestling background helped you get this position with Banana Ball. But and I don't mean this to be in a bad way, and some people may take this the wrong way if they don't follow pro wrestling, but when I ask you, what is your gimmick with the firefighters? What is the thing that you love to do that maybe got you that job with them?
Well, my gimmick, I'm part of the calendar crew. So it's me and we're all pro wrestlers, actually. Me and 4 other pro wrestlers, we're part of the calendar crew. So we dress up as firemen throughout the game, and we just have fun with the fans. We're grabbing the mic, we're talking, we're speaking in front of 80,000 people.
Is this why Sean Wachter told me to introduce you as the sexy firefighter?
Yes, that's why. Yep. So that was part of the job interview. You got abs, you got muscles. Okay, great, you could do it. When's your birthday? December. All right, you're Mr. December Ray Jaz. You're part of the calendar crew.
It's unbelievable how this thing has taken off, because the Savannah Bananas went from playing, in these small minor league stadiums and filling those up, and they came to Staten Island a couple of years ago, and you just could not get a ticket at all. And now they're playing in Major League Baseball stadiums. They're playing in NFL stadiums. They're playing in 100,000 seat college football venues. Now, the other 5 teams, it was 3 this past year. Now it's going to be 5 because they added 2 more teams. You guys will still play a regular schedule when you play against each other. You'll play in these 6,000 or 7,000 seat minor league baseball stadiums, which are great. But it's amazing that how big of a phenomenon this has gotten to be. And actually, there are some, old school. I'm an old school baseball person too, but I like to have a little bit of fun once in a while. So I like it. I've watched it on TV. Couldn't get tickets for Yankee Stadium. Those went in 2 seconds. You couldn't get them this year. But there are some old school baseball people that find this to be, dumb. It's not baseball. But like you said, the owner wanted to make sure this was for the fans and this had to be entertaining.
Right. Yeah. It's everything about the fans. Even, the fans catching the fly ball for an out.
I love that. I love that.
Because they don't want people doing this anymore, right? How do you avoid that? Well, you make it interactive. You make the fans be interested in everything that you do. So every game that we do, we make sure, how are we going to interact with the fans? How is the fans watching the game? And that's what it's all about. You don't want people looking at their phones. You want them to look at the baseball game happening. Because they're playing real baseball. The firefighters, we upset the Bananas in the semifinals to make it to the finals.
Wow, there you go. Congratulations on that. I watched the selection show the other night, and that's with my family. It was so much fun to see how they did that. Refresh my memory. How close do you guys with the firefighters come to playing in this area?
I think we're in Scranton next year.
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, where the Yankees AAA team plays?
Yes. But the other teams, one's playing at the Jersey Shore. The Loco Beach Coconuts are playing there. That's one I'm really excited for. The Loco Beach Coconuts, and we have the Indianapolis Clowns, which is a historic team that we added on. So, that's going to be fun too, just to have each team has their different unique gimmicks, as you would say, as a wrestler. But it's a lot like WWF when you watched it, back, several years ago, where we had the A-Town, the B-Town, and the C-Town.
Right.
Because we're going to be in 3 different cities in one weekend. Once February hits, we're on the road. The Bananas might be at an NFL stadium. The Party Animals might be in an MLB, and then we might be at a minor league park.
Right.
So just the fact that we're able to reach all these different cities is truly amazing.
I'm in the ticket lottery, and along with others in my family, to get the Yankee Stadium tickets. But if not to put any pressure on you, but I may ask for some help with that. Maybe you can help rig the lottery.
Yeah, I got you. Give me a little cut Thursday. I can see what I can do.
We'll see. You know what? We'll talk to the powers that be on Thursday. Make sure you come out with the winners portion of the purse, as they say in the wrestling trade, on Thursday. By the way, I wanted to bring this up because you're involved in baseball, you're involved in pro wrestling, you've done amateur wrestling, so it seems like you're a very well-rounded person. So my kids are involved in this organized stickball league that happens here on Long Island. It's called they you've heard older people talk about growing up, in Brooklyn, playing stickball and bouncing the ball and hitting it. Now there's actually this organized form of stickball. Is that something you think with your baseball prowess that you might be able to take part in if we can find a spot for you?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm game for it. Let's see it. I'll swing. I'll practice. I'll swing a broom around.
It's not that easy because they use a tennis ball as the ball you play, and the ball bounces and you got to swing it. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah. Well, growing up in Jersey, we called it tennis ball baseball. We'd play at the park, and we would have baseball bats, and we'd just play with a tennis ball. And I would pretend I was on the New York Yankees, and my buddies would be on the Mets. So
see, I think if that was cool, because my son's team is the Gotham City Dragons. I think maybe we can have you as an honorary player for a game this year.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great.
That'd be
awesome. I'll put my firefighter costume on. We'll be ready to go.
There you go. Absolutely. Ray Jaz has been my guest, a pro wrestler. He'll be involved with Gotham Wrestling on Thursday night in West Nyack at Levity Live, and he's also a member of the Firefighters team in Banana Ball. They play sometimes against the Savannah Bananas, but there's now 6 teams playing Banana Ball. He's on one of them. Check out the schedule online, see where the Firefighters are going. Ray, thank you so much for coming on the show. Continued success. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished, and we hope to talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I would love to be on again. This is awesome. Great experience.
Well, next time you're visiting Long Island, we'll have you in studio.
Oh, I would love that. I would have went today, but you know how that Long Island to Jersey traffic can be.
Oh, man. Please. I gotta deal with it the other way going to MetLife for the Jet games. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Ray, thanks a lot. Good luck on Thursday.
Yep. Thank you. Are you going to be there Thursday?
I will not be able to make it on Thursday. I will be at the next taping. Previous commitment on Thursday night, but I will be at the next taping.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I'm very excited. So thank you.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Ray Jaz, pro wrestler and a cast member on Banana Ball for the Firefighters, who play in the same organized thing with the Savannah Bananas. Tony, have you caught the Savannah Bananas on TV at all?
I have.
What do you think? It's a lot of fun watching. If you take it for what it is and you take it as entertainment, do you like it? As an old school baseball person like me?
I'll admit, the first time I saw it, I was like, what in the world is this?
It looks silly.
Right. But I would imagine going there is an absolute blast.
Oh, I April 25th and 26th, the Bananas are going to play at Yankee Stadium, and hopefully Ray can do something with that lottery. Or maybe I'll win the lottery on my own, or my wife will win, or Jared will win, or Bradley will win the lottery, and we'll get tickets for Yankee Stadium in April. Still more to do coming up on the show. And by the way, this segment of Sports Bash is presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Coming up, we'll have What's Hot with Ticketbash.com, the Sports Bash Media Poll Question of the Day, and the Coach's Collectibles Item of the Week. We're coming right back after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to our guest in the last segment, Ray Jaz, pro wrestler and also a member of the firefighters team for Banana Ball, the phenomenon that is the Savannah Bananas. That was a great chat. In case you didn't notice, or if you heard something in the background while I was on with Ray, you might have heard the phone ring here in the studio. And Tony answered it as he normally would do, in case there was actually a phone caller at 516-465-3990. But it was a telemarketer. And I was just telling Tony off the air, would it be great if just like I was just talking and blabbing about something and the call came in? All right, let's take that call on the air. And it's happened before. And I know it's happened to WFAN. I know it's happened at other sports talk radio stations where somebody calls in by accident and they don't realize what they're doing. I would love to do that. And the telemarketers are just so, they're such pains in the asses. It's unbelievable how many times they call my cell phone, they call on the house. And there was actually one time they called the house and it had to have been a scam. It had, no question in my mind, it was a scam to consolidate your credit cards, right? And they called the house and I answered. I'm like, you know what? I've had enough of this crap. I'm going to play along with this right now and have some fun. And my kids are home listening to this and they're laughing their asses off because I'm just like, and the guy is on the phone and be like, yeah, do you have credit card debt? And I said, yeah, I got a little bit of credit card debt. And he's like, oh, how much? I said, well, I've got 17 credit cards and I owe $1.2 million. And the guy goes, get out of here. I'm like, no, it's serious. And he's like, no, I'm trying to help you out here, sir. I need you to be, serious. And I'm like, yeah, it's like 17 credit cards, $1.2 million. And it goes, do you work? I'm like, no, I'm just, sitting at home here doing nothing. I sit on the toilet all day. And they're like, and the guy goes, God bless you, sir. And he hung up the phone on me. This was not, but this other thing was not a telemarketing call. I'm gonna share it another time. But there was a time where, and I wrote a story about it. I think I've told Tony about this, but I got a call from the Mets ticket office at home. I told you that story. Have I told you that story?
I think you did.
Yeah. I'll tell that story another time. I'll keep everybody in suspenders about the. Just remind me on. When am I doing a show again? Thursday. Yeah, remind me on Thursday to tell the Mets. I'll keep everybody in suspense until Thursday. I'll tell everybody this very, very funny phone call I got from the Mets ticket office. Well, he didn't think it was going to be funny. It turned out to be funny. I thought it was. But in any event, it is time for What's Hot at Ticketbash.com. Tonight, Tuesday, the Oilers and the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, a 7 o'clock face-off. And remember, Ticketbash.com is not just local. They can get you tickets for events all over the country and all over the world. And that brings us to Game 2 of the National League Championship Series tonight. The Dodgers and the Brewers in Milwaukee. Then tomorrow is Game 3 of the ALCS in Seattle between the Blue Jays and the Mariners. On Thursday, all three hockey teams are in action. Two of them are at home. The Devils host the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, and the Islanders will entertain Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. It is now time for the Coach's Collectibles Item of the Week. and a Rangers item this week. It is a full-size Bauer hockey helmet autographed by Rangers defenseman and Long Island native also, Adam Fox. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. For more information, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. And some of you might be listening to that saying, Peter, usually when you have these Coaches Collectibles items of the week, you like to really talk it up and really make a big deal about it. And if it's a Met item, Tony likes to get involved in it. But why are you not saying much about this one? And I'm like, because it's a Ranger item. And if that item ever made its way into my house, it would quickly be transported to somebody in my family or a friend who is a Rangers fan, just like any other Ranger item that would come into my possession. It does not stay in my house. It will get immediately transferred to someone, whether it's my nephew Brian or his father Matt. I've given them a lot of Ranger stuff in the past. I've got some family members that are Ranger fans. I've got friends who are Ranger fans. I will get it to them. But Ranger items do not last in the Schwartz household. At least, if I have anything to say about it. Met items, fine. I'm not a Met fan, but the family will all take part in that stuff, so that's no problem. And speaking of Coaches Collectibles, their next live event is actually tonight at Mulcahy's in Wantagh with the Islanders Identity line. Casey Cizikas and the retired Cal Clutterbuck and Matt Martin. They'll be at Mulcahy's in Wantagh tonight between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, so that'll be a great event. Go to Coaches Collectibles ny.com and get more information on that event tonight. SportsBash Media poll question of the day. We post a poll question every Tuesday and Thursday on the SportsBash Media X/Twitter page. Jet fans, this is for you. I actually lied before. I said we weren't going to talk about the Jets anymore on the show, but they're the poll question. Jet fans, is Aaron Glenn going to be one and done as head coach of the Jets? And what I mean by that is 1 year, and that's it. He's gone. And you have three answers: yes, no, or too early to tell. Tony, one and done for Aaron Glenn?
He should be.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
I'm going to go with yes on that, too. Yeah, I think some people are... I posted that question very, very early this morning. I think a lot of people are saying right now too early to tell, but no. I mean, he's been incompetent so far. And I wanted Matt Nagy to be the coach anyway, so maybe he'll get a shot at that anyway. I want to thank the New York Islanders. My son Jared and I went to the Islanders game yesterday against the Winnipeg Jets, and the Islanders hooked us up with some really great seats. Thanks to Adam and Julia and the partnerships department for the great hookup. We actually were in the Xerox 19 Lounge, which is a networking lounge. So if you're a company, a small business, and you want to do some great business networking in a great environment, and UBS Arena and an Islanders game is a great environment, then you have to reach out to the Islanders partnerships department. Adam, Julia, the whole staff there, they do a great job. And look at these seats. We were 3 rows off the ice. Look at some of these shots that I got with my rinky-dink phone that I probably should replace at some point, but I still got really good pictures. Look at that. We were 3 rows off the ice. The Islanders didn't win, but me and Jared had a wonderful time there yesterday. But that's great. If you have a local business or even a national business and you want to do some networking, got a chance to meet some great people from some companies on Long Island yesterday, and that was a lot of fun. So hopefully next time we go, we get invited back and the Islanders win next time. But we had a great time yesterday at the game. We thank the Islanders for that yesterday. The 4th annual Marty Lyons Foundation Evening of Thanks Gala is on Thursday, November 13th at the Bourne Mansion in Oakdale. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. A lot of good stuff planned for that Marty Lyons Foundation Gala this year. Want to tell you about some upcoming shows here on Sports Bash. On Thursday, we're back at our regularly scheduled time at 1 o'clock, and I'm really excited about this. We booked this today. Thursday is St. John's Basketball Media Day, and because we're on the air at the same time, we're not going to be able to cover it, but we're actually going to be covering it remotely because St. John's guard Ian Jackson is going to join us here on the show on Thursday. He is a new member of the Red Storm. He was in the transfer portal, and he was a big ticket item for Rick Pitino and the Red Storm. They were able to get him to come over from North Carolina, and he'll be a big part of the Red Storm. And by the way, if you saw the preseason rankings, St. John's ranked number 5 nationally in the preseason rankings after their great season last year, winning the Big East, and I'm looking forward to having Ian Jackson on the show on Thursday, and maybe another guest or two. We'll let you know in the next couple of days. And I mentioned before, we're going to talk baseball next Tuesday here on the show. Kelly Franco, she is the host of the 3-Inning Fan Show podcast, and she is going to join us on the show next Tuesday to talk about the baseball postseason and also the off-season for the Yankees and the Mets. And an interesting note about Kelly, her and her husband share something in common with me and my wife, and that is it's a mixed marriage. One's a Met fan, one's a Yankee fan. So we might bring that up on the show. I think Kelly is a Yankee fan and her husband is a Mets fan. And in my case, I'm the Yankee fan and my wife Cheryl is the Mets fan. So that'll be something that we can bring up on the show next Tuesday. And that will do it for today's edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guest, Ray Jaz. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club. And thanks to our social media coordinator, Connor Kalb. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coach's Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening and tuning in at the delayed time today. I really appreciate it. Sports Bash is back at our regular time, Thursday, 1 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone. I've got nothing to say about Let's Go Anybody because nobody I root for is playing tonight.